Dragon Ball Super episode 100 is now officially in the history books, as right now we're about to dive straight into the Dragon Ball Super episode 101 preview to further dissect the overall teaser and finding out what's going to be going down in this week's episode. And again, if you guys are new to this channel, be sure to go on ahead and punch that subscribe button and turn on notifications, that way you guys can be notified whenever a Dragon Ball video is posted onto this channel. Hashtag notification squad. Dragon Ball Super episode 100 was insane as it was, featuring Kale, Caulifla, Vegeta, Goku, and now we find ourselves battling against the Pride Troopers as we further dissect the overall teaser. So without wasting any more time, let's go on ahead and dive straight into it. So the first person I do want to talk about is Casserole. So this guy, we don't really know too much about. We don't really know how powerful he is. We don't really know, his abilities or what he can do. The only thing we've seen from him in Dragon Ball Super thus far is the fact that he was able to save cats. So I do want to point out right here, he actually wields dual energy blades, as we saw Zamasu and Goku Black do. So this person, I think, in my opinion, having to come from the Pride Troopers, he actually may be a formidable foe, and I don't want to say that they should take this dude way too lightly. However, I do think that he is going to take initiative and take charge, as we see him possibly confront 18, 17, and Goku. And it says here, hey, it's me, Goku, and it says, are you guys from Jiren's universe? So of course they are. I mean, obviously enough, they're wearing the same suits, and I think that hopefully enough, we're going to get more focus from Android 17, because so far we have focus from Android 18, but we really don't see anything come from 17 as well. So hopefully enough, we get to see some more action from 17, as I hope that 17 actually does get to eliminate some people. So either way, we get to see 17 here. He seems to be smiling, and 18 talking to him. So either way, we get to see some action from them. And Casserole, as you guys can see here, looks to be taking action against them. So what I personally like about this is finally we're going to get to see something more serious from this character, as we've never ever seen anything from Casserole thus far. And as you guys can see, he's charging in, and he seems to be swooping and making his way towards the androids, in which hopefully enough we get to see some action from the androids against him, as Goku seems to be very surprised. And as you guys can see here, what I like about this shot the most is finally it looks like 17 and 18 are going to be working as a cohesive unit. Now, one thing I do want to point out here is that these androids aren't quite as in sync as the future androids from the Future Trunks timeline. These androids were known to do their own thing, having to be aggressive in their own nature, and I do feel as if the androids are going to be pairing off for the first time in quite a long time in next week's episode and seeing what they can do. So as you guys can see here, it says, you all came to finish me off. So we understand that Goku challenges Jiren, and Jiren declines in sending 5 of his Pride Troopers off to fight Goku. So this actually might be a scene to where the androids are going to be fighting alongside Goku to combat the Pride Troopers, which again is something we've never seen before, because these androids originally were built to kill Goku. So this is gonna be a very interesting episode in seeing what the androids do with Son Goku. So we get to see 17, he's right over here, and it looks like Casserole and 17 are gonna have quite a bit of an engagement. So I really hope that we get to see either an elimination from 17 or 17 do something incredible enough to where he proves himself against the Pride Troopers. Now again, I don't think that Casserole is as strong as 17, nor do I think 17 is going to be having a difficult time against him, but I do want to make the assumption that maybe Casserole is going to give 17 a very good fight thus far, because 17, as of now, hasn't done anything. We've seen him smack a couple of people around, but it hasn't been anything major. So either way, I'm predicting that Casserole is going to be one of the strongest members that Jiren sends off against Goku. So the next shot I want to get in is this guy. So first of all, right, how in the world can anyone take this little guy seriously? I mean, first of all, he's like a little midget. He's like the size of like a freaking 2-liter soda. So how in the world is this guy gonna do any damage to anyone is beyond me. So I'm sorry to say, but this thing right here, this little dude has to be the biggest troll, I think, within the tournament. He's like this little blue goat-like character. He reminds me of someone from Spyro. So I'm sorry to say, if anything, because Toriyama's known for this, I mean, this could be like a little gag character, so he might actually make it far. But then again, in this tournament, it really wouldn't surprise me if either A, this little guy does serious damage in eliminating quite a few people, or B, they just have him be ringed out easily by either Goku or the androids, in which we see Vegeta very angry. So it really wouldn't surprise me if Vegeta actually fought this dude. I mean, it fits. as you can see, his overall reaction, he's like, can't. And then we see Vegeta, he's like, son of a bitch. So, I mean, from Vegeta's character thus far, I think he's been great because Vegeta has been the one to take this tournament very seriously as of right now, as opposed to Goku, who's just been like toying around and playing around, and which is a detriment to the team because the more you play around and you take the tournament lightly, the more vulnerable you are to getting thrown out. So for Vegeta's character, I can definitely see Vegeta throwing this guy out. So in my prediction, I think that this little dude and Vegeta are going to have some sort of engagement. As it says here, you've got some well-synced coordination attacks there. So we know that, overall, the Pride Troopers do work as a cohesive unit, so their attacks are in sync. So I'm curious on if they're going to be attacking Vegeta as well, because so far throughout all of this, we see them attacking the androids, we see them attacking Goku, but nothing really involving Vegeta. So hopefully enough we get to see them also attack Vegeta, as I do think that Vegeta is one of the more serious fighters from the Universe 7 squad. So we're going to pan out over here. So someone grabs Goku. Now, I don't know who this is. I don't think we've seen this dude before, but he grabs Goku, and again, Goku drops his guard. This is the second time, third time, however many times you want to count it, that Goku has dropped his guard in this tournament. Even pointed out by Elder Kai, once we saw Nink grab Goku, it looks like some other bastard is actually able to grab Goku as well. First of all, the dude in the background is ugly as shit. So whoever he may be, because I don't think we've seen him before, he grabs Goku, and Goku looks to be very concerned. And I want to go on ahead and pan over to here. So we also get to see this guy who I believe we haven't seen before. So I'm guessing that maybe he has to come from universe number 10, universe number 4, universe number 2, because again, we haven't seen much from universe number 2's fighters, or even Brienne for that matter. So what I'm predicting here is that this fighter over here and this fighter over here has to come from either universe number 2, universe number 10, or universe number 4, because I can't see them actually being from universe number 6. As of right now, we're still trying to figure out as to who the other two members are, but I think that overall this guy and this guy are going to be fodder characters. Again, as you can see, Goku isn't really forced to do anything crazy, but I think that eventually he will. But even though they're trying to preserve energy, it's a good build up to that. But as for this character and this character, I'm calling it right now, these guys are going to get ringed out relatively early, because the main focus is going to be the Pride Troopers. So as you guys can see, once again, Casserole looks like he's on the offensive against the androids. So this dude is fighting both the androids off by himself. So what does that tell you about his character? I mean, I think that Casserole is actually quite in sync with how he coordinates himself, which I do think is going to give the androids quite a bit of trouble. But I want to know from you guys if you guys believe that Casserole is going to get the upper hand on the androids. If anything, if 17 is supposed to be as strong as everyone wants to make him out to be, then 17 should have no problem in knocking this dude out, because first and foremost, for him to charge in there and attack the androids, it's bold. It's very bold considering how powerful the androids are, and since they have infinite stamina and infinite energy, they can actually go on quite a long time without getting tired. So if anything, this might serve the purpose in them tiring out Casserole and throwing him out, but in my prediction, I can definitely see 17 being the one to throw out Casserole. So we get to see Casserole once again right here, and now this is very interesting. So we see him charge right in with the blade, and he shoots it off. So I don't think we've ever seen that before, in someone being able to like shoot from the blade that they construct. So this is going to be very interesting to see Casserole's moves, as I do think that Casserole is going to have quite the moveset here, but he fires off a couple of beams, as I told you guys before, and it says, you want to try to act cool with all of those poses though. So as I said before, I think that Casserole and 17 are going to be the main ones engaging in this. So again, I'm calling it right now, between all the other fodder characters, Casserole is going to be the guy that's going to be giving them a very difficult time. The only thing I can't stand about this character is he has that stupid ass microphone on his ear, It's like that serves no purpose in the least. So we see him charging in for 17, and we see 17 actually avoid all his attacks, and then he charges up this big ass energy like attack in which he throws it towards 17, and then right here, so 17 doesn't seem like he wants to move. He actually takes the hit head on. So as you guys can see right there, 17 doesn't move. Casserole throws the attack, and I don't think that 17 is quite concerned about this, because as I said before, I think that 17 is quite significantly more powerful than Casserole, so he's not going to have a difficult time at all. So he takes the blast head on. Now this is interesting. So it says, let me see how good you are. Now we get to see Kale, and she's engulfed in like this, you know, purple like aura or purple like, you know, bubble around her, and she's crying. Now why is Kale crying? First of all, I don't think that Kale should be getting up after what happened to her by Jiren. I'm sorry, but that attack right there should have neutralized her completely. But we get to see Kale in some sort of concern. She looks like she's blushing, but also we get to see right here, so something's going on with Caulifla. Even though we don't know what it is, it looks like she's also a bit battle damaged. Now as you guys can see, she has scratches upon her body, and she doesn't look to be too concerned. She looks to be smiling. Now what I think is going on here is I think that, you know, Caulifla is going to be protecting Kale from either an attack or something that involves, you know, Kale being at risk. So because we understand that no, they're not lesbians, for anyone out there who's assuming all of the worst shit and having all sorts of hentai ideas in their brain, they're not lesbians. That's the master. And this is the student, so it's pretty much the master from what I'm assuming, the master defending the student from a grave attack. So hopefully enough we get to see more from these two. For some weird reason, I have a feeling that either Caulifla or Kale might be one of the ones to get ringed out from this tournament. I mean, if anything, it might be Caulifla, in which I don't think she should go first. If anything, Kale should have been the first one to go after taking that blast from Jiren. But expect to see something very, very traumatizing go down with Kale and Caulifla in next week's episode, because as you guys can see here, I mean, something's going on, and there's like this purple like haze all, you know, surrounding, you know, both Kale and Caulifla. So one can make the assumption as to what's happening here, but either way, we get to see her laughing, she's smiling, and as you guys can see in the background, from what I'm assuming is that Caulifla must have protected her, but that's just my assumption, of course. And of course right here, now guys, I love Vermouth or Belmod, however it is you want to call him. I love the clown god of destruction, and he also seems to be talking, you know, either to somebody or about somebody, but either way he looks to have, I mean, he looks to be very, very sinister in this overall shot, even though we know that he's not. We get to see him speaking. Now what I'm thinking that he's saying here is, I'm thinking that he's pretty much talking about his Pride Troopers and how powerful they are, and how Jiren is very coordinated with everyone else. And it says here next time on Dragon Ball Super, it says the impending warriors of justice, the Pride Troopers, as we move on towards the end, in which we have the ending over here. Now, one of two things come to mind here. Either A, Jiren is taking notice of Goku or some other fighter, or B, he is actually in sync with Vermouth, because we get to see how he's talking, but I mean, we don't know who he's talking to, so it is Vermouth talking to Jiren. Either way, this guy right here is the alpha male of the tournament. We saw how easily he was able to do to Kale what Goku couldn't do with his Kamehameha. So this guy right here is going to be the biggest problem in the tournament. I mean, his traps are huge, and he looks very, very intense in this scene here. So one can make the assumption that either A, he's taking notice of somebody, or B, he's probably talking to his god of destruction. So towards the end, we get to see the fruit squad. So I'm calling it right now, the frog, the girl, and possibly the blue guy are going to be ringed out. If anything, we might see Casserole and the midget stay last. And this is quite the shot right here. So I mean, if anything, this would be the perfect role for Gohan's Great Saiyaman to fit in, because this is some shit that Gohan would do, you know, like all these like silly ass poses and stuff. But I'm calling it right now, the girl, the frog, and the big muscular blue guy. I'm pretty certain that they're gonna get ringed out. If anything, Casserole might be the final one left among the entire group until he gets thrown out as well. But that's just my opinion for me, because out of all these dudes, I really can't take any one of them serious, except for probably Casserole. And if anything, the little blue gag manga guy, he actually might, you know, do something sufficient in this overall tournament. But post your comments down below, guys. What are your overall thoughts on this squad? What are your overall thoughts on the androids having to work together? What are your overall thoughts? I mean, what are your overall thoughts on this little dude, man? Like, cause I'm sorry, he's just a funky ass dude. I mean, I don't think he's gonna do anything major, but who knows? I might be wrong on that. But post your comments down below, guys. Thank you all all so much for watching. If you guys are new to the channel, be sure to go on ahead and punch that subscribe button. Turn on notifications. If you guys enjoyed, leave a like down below. Tune back in for more, and I'll be seeing you all down in the comment section below. Have a wonderful day, guys. Peace.